Hello everybody, welcome to Nostalgia Goggles. I'm Chris, also known as Retro Gaming Nerd, and my show is asking if a game holds up or not. With that being said, I feel like that also allows me to ask the question, was it really that bad as well? And today we're doing that. I've already done this with Metroid Other M, but today I feel like I want to do this one with a game that I never understood the dislike or hatred for, and that is Mario Tennis Ultra Smash. Now with this game, I know a lot of people don't like it. I know a lot of people don't. And I don't 100% understand the reason why. I feel like it might have to do with it came out at the wrong time, but who knows? Let's get right into it and see if it's really as bad as people say it is. So this game doesn't have a story mode, so with that being said, let's move on to the gameplay. So when it gets right down to it, I am definitely not a fan of sports. I think the only reason why I picked this game up is because it is a Mario sports game, and also it does kind of live in infamy. I don't know how much it lives in infamy now, but it definitely did live in infamy for a minute, and I can kind of see why, but we'll get into that later. When it gets right down to the gameplay of this game, it is definitely tennis. It isn't the most Mario of tennis, but it is tennis at the end of the day. You play tennis. There is a Mega Mushroom, but that's a whole mode itself. There's Mega Battle, Rally, Knockout Challenge, and pretty much classic tennis, which allows you to do singles or doubles. It allows you to have different terrains, kind of. The terrains are like different in the court. Outside of that, it doesn't change much, but I feel like that's more of a presentation point. And as a person that knows nothing about tennis, when you tell me what the terrains are differently, I just kind of nod and go, yeah, I get that, I guess. This isn't really a Mario-y type game, right? Like how the Mario Hoops game felt more Mario-like. I feel bad about saying this because I don't really play that many sports games, but I feel like if you're looking for like a more wacky type of tennis Mario-style game, this definitely isn't it. But I do think that realistically what is here is fun. Like, I think the gameplay itself feels fun. It's nothing special, but this is the closest you're ever going to get me to playing tennis at all, so I feel like it's there. I've played the other Mario Tennis games. I played the one for the 64, I played the one for the GameCube, and I feel like the GameCube is more notable, but I haven't played that one in so long that I can't compare it. At the end of the day, I think that this game plays perfectly fine. A little boring, mind you, because it is realistically just tennis. Rally ball is there, but I don't 100% get it. I know you're supposed to rally it, but at some point it doesn't really feel like the PC player really works with you. It just feels like it's kinda, I don't know, it's hard to explain it. And then the knockout battle is realistically just all of it's just super self-explanatory. Like, there is a little bit more to go into it. There's places to go and you hit them harder or whatever, but it's not, like I said, it just doesn't feel super special. And I know that's not like an endorsement, but when it is tennis, it plays well. It feels well. I like it when it's tennis. But I do think that it isn't anything super remarkable, but it also isn't anything super offensive either. So if you're looking for a tennis game, here you go. If you're looking for something more wacky, like Mario Kart or like Hoops 3-on-3, nope, this isn't your game. You know, so I don't know. But the gameplay's fine. With that being said, let's move on to presentation. So in all honesty, this game looks great, but there's not really much to look at. I think that like there is a court change, but it's just the floor is different. The court itself, like the whole stadium, doesn't really change much, and I don't really know if that's a complaining point or not because I'm not 100% focusing on it. I do know in Mario Tennis Aces and many other games there is more like things to look at and there is more to do within those games, but that's comparing more of like gameplay things. I feel like maybe having a visual change would be nice. I don't honestly, I think you can tell that I don't really care much about sports while talking about this game. But I do have to say that as I've noticed some people bring that up, yeah, that is kind of boring. I do think that maybe having a different type of stadium, like a Bowser Stadium or a Peach Stadium or something, would have worked out better, but I don't know. I just don't really, I don't know. I think when it comes down to it though, the game does look great. The character models look really good as well, but that's really all that I can say about it, because if you ask me about the music, I can't say much about it either. It kind of falls into that generic kind of basic sporty kind of music, so I can't really note much about it. There might be something, I don't know. I just kind of zoned out because it doesn't feel like there's a lot really going on in the music department, and I think that kind of sucks, especially since like Mario Hoops 3-on-3, which is literally the only sports game that I care about in the Mario series. I am sorry. If there's one that you could recommend, definitely let me know, but that's the one that I come to mind when I think of sports, because that one had a very interesting soundtrack and it's something that was memorable, even though I haven't touched that game in years. But this one just kind of falls flat. I can't really say anything about the music except for sports, so it looks good, but it just kind of is boring altogether. With that being said, let's move on to the accessibility. So I feel like when most people are upset with this game, I feel like accessibility is kind of where that upsetness came from, because back in the day, I'm assuming this game went for about $60, which with what is given, no, no, that's kind of unacceptable. There isn't enough here to be a $60 game. Even a $30 game feels a lot. Like I can kind of see it, but I just don't really agree with the idea of this game being a full price game, because it doesn't feel like a full price game, especially not now. And I think that's kind of unfortunately where I'm coming from, is today the price isn't even close to that. At the highest, you'll pay about like $16 and it goes lower from there. There are some people that want to charge $30 for this game, but just don't do that. Just no, especially since the online feature doesn't even work anymore. So I feel like with the price that it's at now, I think that this game is fine, but back in the day, I can see exactly why people were upset, especially since this game is so basic, especially since this game is so really whatever. I feel like the thing is, people wanted this game to be more than it was, especially on the console that it was on, which is the Wii U, because the Wii U, yes, had a lot of games, but none of them were like super majorly special. Like, yeah, there was the Mario Karts, there was the Breath of the Wilds, and you know, other games, but I feel like those were definitely few and far between. The Wii U kind of exists in that place of generic, which is fine. I like the Wii U, but I feel like when it comes to you giving us a sports title, I feel like they wanted more, and I can't blame them for that. So yeah, I feel like when it gets down to it, if this game was at a cheaper price back then, there probably wouldn't have been the uproar that existed at the time. But you know, you're not paying that much for it now. With that being said, let's move on to the goods and the bads. I feel that if you're looking for a tennis game, this game works out very well. I think that the game also plays very well. There's not really much here, but what is here feels nice, especially with the Mega Tennis and realistically just tennis in general. I don't know, I think it's fine. The gameplay isn't anything to write home about, but it isn't anything to negatively complain about either. There are some things to complain about, but I just don't think that the gameplay's solid. It works, it's fair, it's there. Another good thing about this game is definitely I like the character models within this game. Nothing, once again, special here either, but I do think that it is nice to note that this game just looked really good at the time. And that's really it. This game's just kind of basic, and I think that that kind of works for it. It sucks, but like, hey, it works, it's there. And another good with that being said is that this game has dropped significantly in price. So if you are curious about this game, I definitely think that it's easier to justify than paying for it back then. But I think that's just kind of how it works in general. I don't know where this game lies in the Mario space of tennis, but I will say that I don't think this game is the worst. If you like it, I can understand. I like it. Am I going to come back to it after this episode? Probably not. Maybe to just go through the games with my friends again, but outside of that, I just don't really have a purpose for this one. So with that being said, let's move on to the bads. I think in truth, the lack of variety and the audacity of Nintendo doing this at full price. If I am wrong, if this game was like $30 or like $20, fine, whatever. But I believe that Nintendo probably tried to do this at a full price, and I can't fault them now for that, because that doesn't matter right now, because the only way you can get this is through a mom and pop shop or like eBay or Amazon even, but I feel like none of that truthfully matters of me getting upset at the pricing back in the day. I see where you guys are coming from. There isn't a lot here. It's really just tennis, and more tennis. And that's fine, but I feel like when you think of the Mario series, you think of more characters or, I don't know, just more, and this game really doesn't give it to you, especially now playing this game today. There is no online. The Wii U's online is off. So there is no real reason to kind of come back to this game because there is just Mario Tennis for the 64. There is the GameCube version. Mario Tennis is the game that seems to persist, so there's almost really no reason to come back to this one. This is so basic and generic that I don't see any reason to go back to this one. It just feels kind of but I mean it still works. It is tennis. It's definitely tennis. But is that a compliment? Is that really a compliment? Because I feel like when you come to these games, you're looking more for like the wackiness or the weird characters, like with Sonic, with that tennis game. I feel like you're coming to it because it's Sega, you get to see Eggman and I believe I and others. I haven't played the game, but there hopefully will be footage here. My point being, at the end of the day, right, you expect more from these games, and even then, this one doesn't feel like it gives you that because it gives you the generic Mario characters you already get, right? This is stuff that I'm assuming you've already seen, and even then, like, you get what I'm really trying to say. This game is basic, right? That's the best way to put it. I can't say that that's a bad thing 100%, but it does kind of suck when you're asking, does a game hold up? Because when a game is so basic, there becomes a point of where it's like, yeah, you can skip this one kind of feeling, and we'll see if you can skip this one or not in the final thoughts. So, is Mario Tennis Ultra Smash worth the hate? Not really, but that doesn't mean that it holds up. I feel like this game just is okay, but I don't really see the point of playing it. See, for me, this game isn't bad, but it also doesn't do anything. The stuff that's within this game just feels like it's tennis, which at the time that this game released, I feel like you needed way more than it just being tennis. Yes, it has the Mega Mushroom, and yes, it has the Mario characters, but really it just doesn't do anything. There's no courses, there's very little to do, there's only really 3 game modes, and with that being said, I just do not see the purpose of this game. And I can kind of see why people were upset back in the day. This game went for $50 to $49, so $50, and that's asking for a lot for this game. Especially at the time where the Wii U was, they needed a game that was more than this. Yes, it looks visually impressive. Yes, the character models are great, but that's really it. And with that being said, you could just play the new Mario Tennis if you really want this experience. I think the only reason why you would have this game is if you're somebody like me that's collecting these kind of games. But even then, I wouldn't really waste my time with it. So with that being said though, yeah, no, I don't think this game is as bad as people say it is, but I definitely do think that it's a waste of time. With that being said though, what's your opinion on Mario Tennis? What's your favorite Mario sports game? I don't really have one. I guess Mario Hoops 3-on-3, who knows? We'll be playing more sports games as we go. So, with that being said, I'll see you guys next time here on Nostalgia Goggles. Bye!